Hello, everybody, and I would like to greet you from our beautiful city of Varaždin. I'm Lana Vukalovic, head of People's Open University in Varaždin and the leading partner in our common project, Getting to Active Citizenship in Europe. Today, we are going to have our last event where we are going to present our common outputs from the project. And today's presenter will be our associate, Patrick Galeski. Patrick, I would like to ask you kindly to take over the floor and to present to all our partners that are here today with us online our final outputs and results. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lana. So I'm Patrick Galeski. I've been working with Pučko dvoreno učilište Varaždin and the partnership on this project throughout. So from the beginning and till now, and plus the final reporting period. So right now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be presenting what we achieved, what changes we had to make, as well as final results. So here we go. So maybe just to make sure here. So here's, I just want to make sure everyone can see the screen. So I think that's pretty clear. And maybe just the first thing to go over is just what is our project. So for those watching the filming of this who are unfamiliar with our project, I'd just like to tell you about the basics. So this project is financed through the Europe for Citizens program through the Measure Networks of Towns. This project was approved for funding at the end of 2019, and our start date was March 1st, 2020, and the project will end at the end of this month, February. It's been approved for a grant worth 100,000, over 100,000 euro, and the applicant is Pučko dvoreno učilište Varaždin, located in Varaždin, Croatia. Our partnership is quite diverse and it covers multiple sectors. We have on the list here Ljudska univerzita Ptuj, located in Ptuj, Slovenia. We have two partners from Serbia, tourist organization Sremska Mitrovica, located in the city of Sremska Mitrovica, and the Regional Development Agency of Srem, RRA Srem, that's located in Ruma. We have two partners from Cavriago, Italy, located in Emilia-Romagna. So we have La Cremeria, and we also have the municipal government, Comune di Cavriago. And in addition to this, we also have included the Institute for Regional Development, located in Prague, Czech Republic. So our target groups in this project included representatives of NGOs, public bodies, schools, as well as other citizens that are interested in the concepts of volunteering. So with this project, our main purpose was to promote volunteering in our communities, as well as to show others how volunteering has made a positive impact. So for each event, our plan was to show how volunteering works in different sectors, such as education and schooling, how it works for promoting cultural heritage and tourism, how it works for the environment, protecting the environment and civil protection, as well as in promoting social inclusion. So each event focused on different areas of volunteering. And the idea behind this was that we learn from each other, we can see what works, what hasn't worked, and we can come up with new ways and methods to promote volunteering in our communities. So that was the purpose of the project, and it was submitted on September 1st, 2019. And for those of you who still remember how it used to be back then, there was no Corona, there was no COVID-19, no health and safety restrictions relating to the pandemic. So things were quite different. And that meant we had to make very specific changes to our project plan. And that was all because of COVID. So on the left side here, you can see our original plan for the events. And on the right, you can see what changes we had to make. So the main thing I want to note here is that COVID-19 changed our entire plan for the events, and specifically the way in which our events had to be implemented. So our original plan was to have everyone to meet in person, to have the events span 2 to 3 days, depending on the location, and to have between 76 and 100 participants per event. So in our case, we were able to accomplish this. However, for all of our events, they had to be adjusted. So our schedule had to be adjusted. The original contents had to be adjusted to match the current situation. And as well, we had to make sure that we had proper safe health and safety measures in place to make sure that we didn't have any issues with the pandemic. So our methods for getting the events adjusted and adjusting them in the right way included some of the following. First of all, we had to delay the events. Our kickoff event was originally scheduled in March 2020. And well, that's when the pandemic started. So we had our first approach was to wait for better conditions, because at the beginning of the pandemic, many experts were saying it would last maybe 6 weeks, maybe 3 months. No one ever predicted that it would last almost 2 years. So that was something that we did at the beginning. But then we began to see that we couldn't wait. We had to do the project, and we had to make plans and make adjustments to make sure that the project could be implemented in a safe and effective way. So what we did often was we communicated with the control body, the executive agency in Brussels. They provided us with guidelines. They told us what we could and could not do, and we followed those rules to the letter. Another key thing that we had to do was that we couldn't have everyone in person. So for all our events, they had online or hybrid elements included. And Zoom was a new tool that all of us had to learn during this whole time during COVID. So we had to learn about breakout rooms. We had to learn about tracking attendance. We also had to make sure that we had interaction. Interaction online compared to in person is much different. We noticed a phenomenon called Zoom fatigue. So a key thing was always to engage participants in the best way possible, usually through work, usually through direct questions, through quizzes, other activities, things that keep people moving and thinking. Another thing too is that due to the pandemic and the ever-changing situation in our towns, we had to commit a lot more time to planning and evaluating each of our activities. So the evaluation was very important, mainly because we didn't know if Zoom was working or not. So after every event, we had an online questionnaire, and we had all of our participants provide us feedback on what was working and what was not. And that gave us a good indication of what was working well and what had to change. Another thing too is that we always had to have more planning involved. There was always going to be plan A and then plan B and maybe even plan C. So we always had additional plans in place in case if there was a new variant, for instance, or if there were, let's say, certain restrictions in certain countries versus others. So this was a constant. This was also essential to our project, was constant communications. So we had meetings on a very regular basis, normally once a month in most cases, so that we could make sure that partners were clear. We could find out more information about the health and safety situation in each country, and we could communicate our concerns more frequently, more openly. So Zoom was the main platform that we used for our meetings. And apart from that, there was also regular emails and communications between the partnership. And I must say that everyone was very responsive. When we had concerns or when we had questions, we would always hear something very quickly from the partners. Okay. So in seconds for them. Okay. So now I'll mention how things actually turned out. So I mentioned our original plan and the plan that we had in place. And now I'm going to go event by event, showing how things happened. So the first one here is our kickoff event, which took place in Varaždin, but we had it a little bit staggered. Instead of having 3 days in a row, we had 3 separate days within a 3-week period. So our kickoff event was started on the 27th of October in a hybrid environment where we had about 20 people in our in Kino Gai, a theater in Varaždin. And we also had other participants gather their participants in rooms, as shown in the picture on the left in Sremska Mitrovica, and other participants were connected online. So our first thing was to show how COVID has changed volunteering in general. So how volunteers were able to function, how they were able to still finish their work and do the right thing for their communities. So some of the examples we presented at the first event included the work of the Red Cross of Varaždin County and how they were providing help and aid to communities in need. The Youth Council of Sremska Mitrovica presented their actions on how they were delivering food to seniors and how they were connecting with seniors during the pandemic. We also had CID from Get2it showing how volunteers were actually helping to develop and repair infrastructure like playgrounds. There was also presentations by the volunteers in Cavriago showing how they were helping seniors, and the Boy Scouts located in the Czech Republic. And that was also presented on how they are connecting people, working with people, and basically making trying to make a bad situation less bad is the best way to put it. So everyone was talking about this and shared their experiences on that first day. On the other 2 days, we had 2 workshops. We had a workshop held by the Red Cross of Varaždin County, where they told us how they were recruiting volunteers, screening them, and making sure that they were engaged in their actions. And on the third day, we had a scenario-based learning where we learned about how volunteers could, let's say, make new projects, new actions during this difficult pandemic. After that, we had our second event, and that was held in Serbia, in Sremska Mitrovica. That was from the 23rd of August until the 25th. And at the event, the main focus was on how volunteers are contributing to cultural heritage and tourism specifically. So some of the things that we learned about in particular were how the city of Sremska Mitrovica is using volunteering as a way to promote the Roman heritage of the city. We also learned about how it's promoting nature. So we saw the nature reserve Zasavica and learned about how volunteers from universities and schools are contributing to protecting wildlife in that area. At the same time, we also had a very comprehensive workshop about how to create stories. So storytelling about that shows what cultural heritage is, that creates identity in the town and helps everyone to feel like they're part of the community. After this, we held another event in Italy. This event was focusing on environmental protection, civil protection, and as well also covered persons with disabilities. During the first day, we were taking part in a simulation where the municipality of Cavriago created a scenario that was very dramatic, and we saw specifically how citizens in the city of Cavriago discuss issues, come to solutions, share ideas, and as well come to a consensus on certain issues. On the second and third day, there were best practice presentations on how Cavriago is, for instance, recycling materials and turning them into art. So that was presented through the Cavriago Land Art. We also saw the Multiplo Center of Cavriago, where various initiatives are being used to connect citizens in different ways. So we learned about the 8th Day Association, which cooked us a brilliant lunch, and also they discussed how They're including persons with disabilities in their community. And overall, we got a very clear picture of how Cavriago functions, how Cavriago is including different persons, and how they are making a difference in protecting the environment and including citizens. The Get2it event was, unfortunately, most of it was held online, mainly due to the Omicron variant taking over Europe. So it was held in a hybrid format where there were Slovenian participants gathered, but for the most part, our participants were online. We had 100 participants in this event, which was quite good. And the event was quite interesting. It covered intergenerational solidarity. So during this event, we learned about Speise Modrosti. We also learned about Senioriada. We also learned about how Get2it and Loop specifically was using certain methods to connect senior citizens to the overall community. And this was quite interesting. And it also shed lights and perspective on the activities. And one activity I thought was actually quite interesting was the exercise activity, that they showed us how they're using online tools to engage people into exercising during the pandemic. And that was quite an interesting thing to do, very interactive. Our last event was held in Prague from January 26th until the 28th. So that was Wednesday to Friday. And Omicron was still quite a big issue, so some changes took place. We managed, so the participants from Slovenia, Croatia, and Serbia managed to come in person in numbers. And we also had participants online from Italy, and we were able to finish that event effectively. So at that event, the main focus was on social inclusion. We learned about the InHeal project. We learned about how Prague 9 is tackling child obesity through volunteering. We learned about Roma communities and how they are dealing with specific issues that affect that community. All of them are using volunteers as a main way to engage, to solve issues, and to build trust in the community. We also learned about how the Center for Social Services in Prague is providing services and support to migrant populations and the issues facing such populations. Another part too that was also something that maybe people forget is that there is a lot of homelessness in European communities. And we learned about the approach that Prague has been taking to tackle these issues. On the last day of the event, we had a pilot training session where we tested part of a curriculum that we've made for this project and that we intend to develop over the long term. The main topic of that training was conflict management and how to deal with conflict situations as a volunteer. So that was our last event was the event in Prague. And now we've had quite a lot of time to reflect on the project, on what we've done, and how we see things going forward. So there's a very distinct possibility that COVID will continue, at least over the next year. And with that being said, we have some very specific advice for other organizers. First of all, COVID-19 requires plan B, maybe plan C or D. So when you are planning your events, you need to research government measures. You need to know what's allowed, what isn't, not just in your country, but in others. So a lot of the time, people could not come to our events because if they went back home, they would need quarantine, multiple tests, stuff like this. That's very uncomfortable. So you need to consider all of these situations in European countries and communicate regularly with your partnership so that you can know what's possible and what's not. Online participation. This can be exhausting. That's what I wrote down here, and I think all of us can agree to that. One of the main things is that a traditional lecture isn't enough to get your people involved in your project. So with online participation, you need group activities, you need to have breakout rooms, you need to have quizzes, questions, maybe even to an individual question here and there. So yeah, just don't just speak, engage your audience, have them speak as well. Evaluation is another key aspect that has helped us throughout the project. So by having evaluations with the participants after each event, we were able to see if this online hybrid in-person approach was functioning, and that allowed us to make changes for future events and future activities. And what we found in our evaluations is that group work turned out to be the best way. So people who are just in an online room need to still talk to each other, share experiences on an individual level, and group work usually did that. So if you have group work with a specific problem, case study, or whatever, and then people get to talk to each other, so maybe they'll say, oh, we're doing this in the Czech Republic for this issue. Oh, but in Italy, we're doing this. So that way, people start talking to each other, they start sharing ideas, and then they share experience. Now, some of our other results. So apart from implementing the 5 events in our application, we also had some other indicators that we had to fulfill. The one I would like to indicate that we feel is quite important is the training program that we developed that focuses on community leaders. And we had developed a draft curriculum. We tested it at the Prague event, certain aspects of it, and we feel as a partnership that it would be best to develop it further through other programs such as Erasmus. So that was one thing that we're going to use to sustain results. We've also concluded a long-term partnership agreement between all partners, indicating that we all will continue to work together. It also indicates the ways in which we will work together. And we feel that future project applications based on volunteering is the best way. For each event, there were communication materials such as brochures, protective masks, coffee cups, pillows, printed good practice guides. All of this told people not only about the EU contribution to the project, but that the project is out there, is to promote volunteering, and it's to help them. The good practice guides gave specific examples of how volunteering is succeeding in each country, and we had a unified document that was translated into 6 languages. The report on the pilot training details the outcomes, and that has also been made public. We also have a promotional film for our project, multiple press coverage, partners' websites, and an online quiz that we had at the beginning of the project, basically to engage citizens and show them what volunteering is and isn't. So all of this was accomplished over this 2-year period. Long-term impacts. So the first thing I think we can all agree on is that through this project and through engagement, dissemination, discussing experiences, citizens have gained knowledge and skills to manage actions in line with EU policies. And that's for education, employment, culture, the environment, as well as migration. Enhanced awareness is another thing too. So through our dissemination, through news reports, through, let's say, news channels covering our project, other citizens have also learned about how the EU is promoting solidarity, mutual understanding, cultural diversity, and how it's positively impacting the quality of life. We've also developed new tools, the main one being the training program on community leadership, which we drafted within this project. And we see that this tool in particular is a great way to promote the project results and to promote volunteering in our communities, and that will in turn help our communities grow. Now, with that being said, I'd like to, just before we have the final words from our partners, what I'd like to do now is just give you all a picture of how the events were organized, how they looked like, and how they were going forward. So what I'd like to do now is share the film that we have on our website, on the Pučko Učilište website. This is a YouTube video, and it shows basically the outcomes of our first event. Oop. Just one moment, I just have to do share sound. There we go. All right, so this is highlights of the first event, which was created as a as a promotional video by Sunčica and the staff at Pučko dvoreno učilište, and I think it gives us all a pretty good picture of what happened at the first event.
We are very glad to announce the official start of our project within the program Europe for Citizens.
Partners from Italy, Slovenia, Serbia and Czech Republic are going to present their volunteering actions, but in several domains such as environmental protection, tourism and cultural sector, youth migration issues and of course intergenerational solidarity. So basically what we are trying to achieve with this project is to gather more citizens, to get involved in citizens' actions of volunteering.
Why do people volunteer here? Unlike in Western democracies, where the volunteering has become kind of integral part of social life, in the Czech Republic it's a bit different still. Volunteers working in the non-profit sector make up a significantly lower share of the total employment, let's say, than in Western countries.
Call center was placed in the oldest building in our city. Well, volunteers under 18 years old had to get confirmation of parental consent. We were lucky that our parents supported us to volunteer in such harsh time.
After some time, the call center gathered around 50 more volunteers that carried food and other needed products to people over 65 years old that were under complete lockdown.
Some of their volunteers decide to do volunteering because they have been helped by these associations, which is, in my opinion, very interesting because it means that people understand the effort of the association.
But I think that we are managing this very well. What do you say?
Humanism is growing again, and this is something that affects me and gets to me also as a philosopher. I really like that. I'm also a little bit keen on how the situation will now continue, so maybe we all have a chance to improve ourselves a little bit towards this idea.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think with that, I think we get a very clear picture of how the events were organized, what the impact was, and how they affected citizens in general. But now I'd like to open the floor up to our partnership. So maybe to begin with, I'll start with Lana and the team from Pučko dvoreno učilište, and to hear their, let's say, final words on what they thought of the project and how it benefited citizens.
Thank you, Patrick, very much for actually the overview of our results. I do think that despite of very challenging times that we have behind us, we did manage to achieve our results. However, we do have experience in Europe for Citizens programs, doing them live on the spot and networking very lively. But despite everything what happened, I think that we connected even more because we were all together as partners working on achieving common results and making real tangible outputs within this project because of the situation that we were all in. And the topic itself, volunteering, never came in better time because we have these pandemics and we are actually all in the same situation. So basically we were there for each other. And what I want to stress as well is that we had lots of young people on board on the project. And this is very important because young people are those who are going to continue mostly with activities that we were training them for. And we already heard lots of great practices and examples of great practice in all our countries. And everywhere young people are really involved up to like a high percent. So basically, my wish for the future is that we continue working on our network and on our partnership, and that we continue with these kinds of projects. And I think that we can build on this project. So basically, now we all have this bigger experience, not only with Zooming, or how did you call it, Patrick?
Zoom fatigue.
Zoom fatigue, yeah.
Yeah.
We are all very, yes, fatigué, as the French would say, with the Zooming. However, I think also that we are very lucky to live in the 21st century, where we do have this technological possibilities to continue with activities. Imagine living in the 19th century and implementing this kind of project. So basically, still we are lucky that we could have done it, but however, I like it more in person, and I hope that in the future we will be able to go back at least to some type of life that we were having before, and really to welcome you in our cities, in our countries, and network life. So basically, yes, I'm very satisfied that we managed to come to the end of the project by achieving all the results that we wanted to. And I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all of the partners on board. Thank you very much for being with us and for striving for this project to really succeed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lana. Now I'd like to, so I'm just going event by event. So the kickoff event was in Varaždin. The second event was held in Serbia. So perhaps I'll ask our representatives from RDA SREM and tourism organization Sremska Mitrovica to provide their feedback and to tell us what they think the main impact of the project has been. Oh, Buena, I don't think we can hear you. Nope.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Wait. Yes, you can hear me now. Okay, I will speak on behalf of the Regional Development Agency SREM and the tourism organization of the city of Sremska Mitrovica, which is our partner in several projects. Well, in the end, I will definitely say that I'm satisfied with how the project turned out, since everybody was so suspicious about the project results and how we will organize events. Overall, I think that for Serbian citizens and participants in the project, it was very good that we managed to involve other stakeholders that are not officially partners in the project, Youth Office of the City of Sremska Mitrovica, Red Cross of Sremska Mitrovica, Center for Social Welfare, especially because these organizations are represented by young people. Since Serbia is actually in the accession process to the European Union, I think that it was very beneficial for all of these participants to see that there are similar local communities in the European Union as ours, and that people in the European Union actually find similar solutions to the problems they encounter in their local communities. But on the other hand, that there is support even beyond Serbia for local initiatives, for new ideas, etc. So I think that all of the organizations that we involved in the project will definitely be interested in further cooperation within this partnership. For the young persons, I think that the most useful thing was, and for us too, was peer-to-peer learning and networking, and definitely in the future an opportunity to cooperate on new project ideas and projects, and trying to solve some specific needs that we encounter in the local community. So in the end, I have to say that I'm looking forward to new projects and new project ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Bojana. Now I'll pass the floor to the representatives from La Cremeria and Cavriago. So Eddie or Giovanni, perhaps you can say a few
Yes,
words.
I'm talking right now. Thank you, Patrick. So I'm now speaking on behalf both of La Cremeria Training Organization Center and also of the municipality of Cavriago. It has been a great pleasure to be part of this project. And I think that, well, first of all, thank to the project leader and also to Patrick being in this way also part of the project leaders and cooperating with them, because in such a time and with such difficulties, well, very a very how can I say? I'm looking for the right word, but I just want to say that the leadership really needed to be very active and to take care of many details on many levels. And this has been a good result also, mainly thanks to you. I also think that all the partners have made a great activity and a great work all together. I have appreciated the fact that being here and having being into the all the activities from the beginning of the project, we have seen really a lot of difference of different items, issues, and activities carried out by all the local institutions and all the partners. So it has been a really comprehensive vision of what all the local territories and the different partners have been carried out. And most of all, and I'm talking also about the Cavriago experience, for sure, we hope that, and you have known and learned how our territory and institution work. But most of all, we have been very happy to have learned many things from all the other partners and to have learned many best practices and many activities which have then and are now stimulating us to, well, increase and to develop further activities. So this is an overall judgment. And of course, we're really looking forward to develop all the outcomes on future projects, because we have started a path that is really going to become even bigger, I think. Okay. In the meantime, also Giovanni has reached me, so he's seeing some persons he saw him in here in Cavriago in October, I guess. So just I think I have maybe I have spoken enough for on behalf of Cavriago. So if you want to pass the to let the other partners talk, but okay, just maybe a quick greeting from Giovanni, because I think he also had a good experience with all of you, and he's willing to see you again.
Hey,
Okay,
Giovanni,
just a moment. I'm giving him the.
Oh. All right.
Good morning, everybody. I want to say you, everybody, thank you from municipality of Cavriago, because yeah, it was a really interesting experience, and that we are. For me, it was the first experience of exchange with other municipalities and organization around Europe, and it was really interesting to learning about some best practices that maybe we can start to adopt here also in Cavriago. So thank you very much also from the councilor of Cavriago that couldn't be here, but they are really excited by this kind of experience. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Giovanni. Okay, now I'll pass it to our colleagues from Loop. So Moitza, David, or Petya, we'd like to hear what you thought about the project in general.
Since you listed all three of us, I don't know which one should speak. Should I? Yes, you should. So first of all, I would like to say that it was a great pleasure working with all of the partners. We did know some of you from previous cooperations, but it's always good to have some new ideas and new partners in other partnerships. Regarding the public university, I think that although we did cooperate in the past in EU for Citizens project, we did took quite a lot from Get2it. I think this is my personal opinion. The main thing that I see it as a big breakthrough for Ptui. Okay, we did discuss about Zoom fatigue, but I would say that in Ptui, we did have a breakthrough with all the seniors being involved via Zoom on our 2 days event, because it was impossible then to have it live. And we managed to get, I think, 98 or something people, and a lot of them were seniors who never used Zoom program before. So I count that as a great result also for the future, because in the past 2 years, we didn't have a lot of success involving seniors in Zoom cooperations or in Zoom sessions. So I think that the topics, the partners, and all of the discussions, also the workshops that we did, took them by surprise, or even maybe they thought they were interesting. At least evaluation showed that they did took a lot from it, and now maybe the floor will be open for the future. We never know how it will end. One other thing that I would like to mention is that since we had the new mayor at the last elections, this was the first time that she participated in one of our sessions, and the end result of that is that now we have the invitation to cooperate in another EU for Citizens, or how now is the new name, I don't know, I'm sorry, right now, of this program. So we will develop an idea for municipality. Maybe we will also have the opportunity to work with all of you again. What did I thought to mention? We did connect a lot of Ptui's organization that didn't cooperate before. So regarding the field of volunteering, I think that we did some steps toward good prospects. And I think that for the future, now we have a good base to cooperate with a lot of them that we didn't know before. As Eddie said, and I think that now I'm getting his floor already, I'm longer than him, but it's your fault, Patrick, you invited me. I think that from this cooperation, a lot of great ideas came out. We also, I don't know if somebody already mentioned, but we came out with a new proposal probably for the future projects. We did some discussions about Erasmus Pluses and everything else. So I think that we will be able to start something really beautiful. And I'm looking forward to Get2it #2 or something like that. And that will be all from my side, David.
Okay. Thank you, Petya. That's very, very comprehensive. Nice response in general. Now I'll pass the floor to Martin, who's representing the Institute. So Martin, the perspectives from the Czech Republic, what was learned, what was the benefit? We'd like to hear a few words from you.
Thank you, Patrick. Can you hear me? Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm representing the last partner, Institute for Regional Development, Prague. We are an NGO. We have had some experience with Europe for Citizens, but with very specific focused topics. So this is the first, or this has been the first for us in such a scale, and we are really grateful for it. As far as the youth or volunteerism included or involved For us, mainly the events in Sremska Mitrovica and Gavrijago showed that even if Prague is a city with bigger size, the opportunities, the problems, and the good practices are very similar. So it was really inspiring for us. At the same time, we use the opportunity to get some young people involved to see those types of projects and international cooperation activities. So mainly again to Serbia and to Italy, we brought some youngsters. And finally, as far as the Prague event is concerned, this was run under very specific circumstances due to the highest incidence of COVID positive people here, but we were really lucky to get some very relevant organizations involved, such as Romadrom Center for Social Services Prague, or even Prague 9, which is our long-term partner, and all of them really liked the project outputs and were really get motivated much more to follow on this kind of cooperation and this kind of projects. So for us, it was a very nice story, all this. And maybe the only strange thing was that we experienced on the Hungarian-Serbian border when coming to Sremska Mitrovica, when we really realized that it's extremely unfair and strange now that we are facing such barriers, physical barriers, let's say, among us, because otherwise, until that moment, we actually were not even aware if we are all coming from one country or from 6 or from 3. So that's it. And yeah, hopefully we can follow more with all of you and yeah, experience some new stories. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. So I think we've covered the entire partnership and all the events, all the perspectives here. So that's the end of the presentation. So Lana, would you like to perhaps say one final word, maybe a final farewell?
Well, I think that I already did, actually. So if I do any more, it would seem like we can never separate, actually. And this is very true, because we already became sort of friends. And I guess that it was also the intention of projects like this, not only to connect the cities, but to connect real people within the cities. And I think that we managed also that. So basically, yes, we did. We did more than we expected within the project. And personally, I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy that I met you. I learned a lot from everybody, and I think that we learned a lot from each other. Most of it that we actually have been helping each other, and that we understand now the volunteering and the necessity of volunteering even more. So basically, yes, keep on going. Let's get to work, because we have new projects to write for the continuation of the partnership. And that would be from me. That will be all, folks.
Okay, thank you, Lana. So yeah, and thank you everyone for taking part in today's final presentation. And to all of those viewing this, I hope you're able to use our results as well as to organize similar actions that have positive impacts. So, and that's all from my side. Okay, so I guess with that, we'll say goodbye. So, all right.
Bye-bye.